In this video, we'll be taking a look at 2 college football games happening on October 5th, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Sam Houston State versus Liberty. The Liberty Flames play host to the Sam Houston State Bearcats on Thursday night in a Conference USA showdown from Williams Stadium. The Flames are undefeated on the season, riding a nice set of wins into this October matchup. For the Bearcats, they are searching for their first win still, but have a more difficult schedule to thank for that. These two haven't squared off before, and even despite the difference in the records of the two, this still promises to be a great matchup. Sam Houston State enters a midweek Conference USA showdown still trying to secure their first win of the season. Having Brigham Young University, Air Force, and Houston, all teams that will be playing in bowl games, on the schedule has made things difficult, but considering they've been within 2 scores or better in 3 of their 4 losses, there is some momentum building. This is Sam Houston State's first season in football bowl subdivision football, and having to go on the road could make things a challenge. Liberty has been dominant in the conference for a few years now, and that could make things daunting for the Bearcats on Thursday, especially adding in a night game and national television to the mix. Expect the Bearcats to put their best foot forward, but they still might be a few years removed from being able to compete at the top of the conference standings. The Bearcats have a number of injuries to worry about as well, especially on the offensive end. At running back, Zach Charbase is questionable and as the team's second string back, would still be missed in this one. Beyond that, Ifadai, the team's 3rd leading receiver, has already been ruled out. Against a top team, the lack of depth could hurt them. Sam Houston State has struggled on the offensive end, ranked 133rd nationally in total yards, 131st in rushing, and 121st in passing. While that might cut it against some teams in the conference, Liberty's defense will pose some problems. Tegan Shoemaker has struggled to find consistency, while John Gentry has struggled to make a dent on the ground. The struggles in both aspects could haunt them in this one, especially as they struggle to control the clock. At least on the defensive end, they have an elite stopper in the middle in Trevor Williams. He's among the leaders nationally in tackles, but with a defensive line in front of him that has only generated 3 sacks, they're likely to struggle in this one. Even despite an off-season coaching change, Liberty hasn't wasted any time in getting off to a fast start in 2023. At 4-0, they look like one of the favorites in the Conference USA, while hoping to come out as the top group of 5 team as well when things are said and done. After back-to-back road wins in the last 2 weeks, they'll be happy to be back at home, where they came out on top the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks saw them struggle to get off to a fast start, though on the road, things went much more smoothly. The majority of the opponents that they've seen this season expect to be in bowl games, so being able to welcome Sam Houston State will be a nice change of pace for this group. As heavy favorites, a loss at home would end up being one of the weekend's more stunning defeats. Much like their opponent, the Flames have some injuries of their own to worry about on the offensive end. A running back, a pair of wide receivers, and a tight end all have been ruled out, though the lack of depth might not hurt them in this one. Liberty's offense hasn't missed a beat, even despite the change in the coaching staff. They rank 10th in the country in yards per game and are 2nd nationally in rushing. The passing attack hasn't been as strong, and while that balance will need to come into play down the road, that isn't needed in this one. Kydon Salter has made the most of his opportunities in the passing game, while having himself and a pair of running backs over 240 yards on the ground certainly helps as well. Treon Sibley and CJ Daniels each have over 200 yards at receiver, and there's no doubt that the offense will keep rolling along in this one. We've got a Thursday night football matchup between the winless Sam Houston Bearcats and the undefeated Liberty Flames. The Bearcats are still looking for their first football bowl subdivision win in program history since making the jump this year, but it will be a tall task on the road against a high-powered Liberty offense. The Flames have the 2nd best rushing attack in the country behind only Air Force, who rarely throws the ball, averaging 271.2 rush yards per game and 5.99 yards per rush. Liberty quarterback Kydon Salter is going to be a handful for the Bearcats defense that has been rough off against the run, allowing 184.5 rush yards per game. Salter is a dual threat guy averaging 229.75 yards per game through the air and 67 yards per game on the ground, highlighted by 16 total touchdowns and only 1 interception. Sam Houston State has some talent, but they lack the depth as they continue to transition to Football Bowl subdivision football. Having to hit the road for midweek action on short rest is going to make things even more challenging. Liberty has one of the country's best ground games, and their ability to control the clock will be the key in this one. Adding in that at quarterback they have 11 touchdowns through the air, they have shown an ability so strike fast. The Bearcats have no pass rush, and with Liberty likely to score on nearly any possession, these two programs appear to be trending in opposite directions as Liberty continues to propel themselves toward being ranked on the national level while Sam Houston State is simply trying to win a game. I don't anticipate the Bearcats getting off the schneid on Thursday, not on the road with a short week. Not only are they at a disadvantage there, they're also taking on a very dynamic Flames team. It's the offense that really sticks out for Liberty, which boasts 3 runners with at least 240 yards on the ground. Quarterback Kaidon Salter is far from a runner-only quarterback. He's also very productive through the air. The sophomore has amassed 919 yards while posting an 11-1 touchdown-interception ratio. He'll take on a defense that has been gashed for 73 points in their last 2 games. The Flames have the weapons to dominate in this performance. Liberty hasn't had the toughest of schedules, but the Flames have taken care of business thus far without the fear of playing down to the level of competition. Liberty is one of only 6 Football Bowl subdivision teams in the country unbeaten against the spread, and that's a wave I'm willing to ride until it crashes. Liberty is a very well-rounded team, and I think they can stretch this lead into the 20s at minimum. So the Liberty Flames to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Liberty will be able to dominate based on their ability to move the ball on the ground, and with 3 players over 200 yards on the ground on the season, they'll slow this game down and make sure Sam Houston State stays off the field. Even if the Bearcats do see the field, they'll struggle to move the ball themselves, given the difference between their talent on the offensive end and Liberty's defense. Honestly, I'm wondering where the points are going to come from for Sam Houston State. They're rolling with quarterback Keegan Shoemaker, who has just 476 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Their run game is also abysmal considering they're averaging just 65.5 yards per game, which is 131st in the country. Meanwhile, the Bearcats are running into one of the stingiest defenses in the country under head coach Jamie Chadwell. The first-year coach's defense is allowing just 18.5 points per game. To put that into perspective, only 30 Division I programs are giving up under 20 points per game. Between the Bearcats struggling to move the ball, Liberty dominating on the ground, and this likely turning into a blowout by halftime, this expects to be one of the lower-scoring games on the weekend slate. I can easily see this game ending in the 31-7 range. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Western Kentucky versus Louisiana Tech. It's a key Conference USA matchup Thursday night as the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs host the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. The Bulldogs come in with a record of 3-3 overall and 2-0 in Conference USA, while the Hilltoppers are 3-2 overall and 1-0 in the conference. These two teams haven't met since 2018 when Western Kentucky won 30-15. Kickoff is on Thursday night at Joe Aylett Stadium in Ruston, Virginia. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers are 3-2 on the season and 1-0 in Conference USA. They snapped a 2-game skid last Thursday with an impressive 31-10 win over conference rival Middle Tennessee State. It was actually a lot more competitive than the final score indicates, but the Hilltoppers were huge on third downs, converting 10 of 19 times on third down. That was twice as many times as Middle Tennessee State converted. The Hilltoppers also forced 3 turnovers while they only coughed it up once. Quarterback Austin Reed threw for 297 yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. LT Sanders rushed for 83 yards. The Hilltoppers averaged 32 points per game, which ranks 55th in the nation. They averaged 382.8 yards per game, which is 76th in the country. This includes 286 yards per game in the air and 96.8 yards per game on the ground. Defensively, they allow 29 points per contest, which is 98th in the country. They give up 472.8 total yards per game, which ranks 130th in the country. This breaks down to 267.6 per game in the air and 205.2 yards per game on the ground. Wide receiver Blue Smith and tight end Trevor Borland are among those listed listed as a day-to-day, along with long snapper Rex Robich. The Louisiana Tech Bulldogs also snapped a 2-game losing streak, beating Conference USA foe UTEP by the score of 24-10 on the road. They covered last Saturday as 1.5-point favorites over 1-5 UTEP. UTEP outgained Louisiana Tech 321-294 and had more first downs, but they got a touchdown on a 67-yard punt return by Smoke Harris and forced the game's lone turnover. The Bulldogs are still playing without quarterback Hank Bachmeier, who is listed as day-to-day for this game. Without him, they have struggled to move the ball in the air as quarterback Jack Turner threw for only 152 yards. Tyre Shelton gained 104 rushing yards and scored a touchdown. The Bulldogs averaged 27 points per game, which ranks 81st in the nation. They averaged 376.3 yards per game, which is 81st in the country. This includes 224.3 yards per game in the air and 152 yards per game on the ground. Defensively, they allow 26 points per contest, which is 76th in the country. They give up 377.5 total yards per game, which ranks 76th in the country. This breaks down to 152 per game in the air and 225.5 yards per game on the ground. Starting quarterback Hank Bachmeier is listed as day-to-day with a shoulder injury. Running back Marquis Crosby and wide receiver Kobe Duru are listed as day-to-day. Linebacker Brevin Randall is suspended for this game after stomping on a UTEP player's head during the last game, and running backs Keith Willis and Charvis Thornton are both listed as out. With their win on the road at UTEP last Friday, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs return home for a Thursday night matchup with Western Kentucky. The Bulldogs are 3-3 overall, but they are 2-0 in conference and hope to extend that streak against the Hilltoppers, who are 3-2 overall and 1-0 in conference. The Hilltoppers defeated Middle Tennessee State in convincing fashion last week and hope to move to 2-0 in Conference USA before a bye week. Western Kentucky runs an air raid offense and has the highest pass rate in the nation because of it. However, the Hilltoppers are not very efficient through the air. They are outside the top 65 in pass play predicted points added, success rate, and explosiveness despite their frequency throwing the ball, which is a cause for concern against this Louisiana Tech defense. The Bulldogs' defense ranks in the top 3 in opposing pass play predicted points added and success rate. In fact, 4 members of the secondary are in the top 10 of Conference USA in reception rate allowed per PFF, as Keyshawn Paul, Jamel Shelby Jr., Willie Roberts, and Michael Richard all allow less than 37% of opposing passes to be caught. For what it is worth, Western Kentucky averaged just 6.9 yards per pass at Troy and 5.2 at Ohio State, while Louisiana Tech has yet to yield more than an average of 8 yards per pass at home. The Bulldogs could be without Paul against Western Kentucky, but I still believe they have plenty in the secondary to slow down the Hilltoppers' passing attack at home. The big question here is the status of Louisiana Tech quarterback Hank Bachmeier. He is listed as day-to-day, so there is a chance he'll play, but there is also a chance he won't. The former Boys State starter makes a huge difference in the passing game and would allow them to take advantage of a weak Hilltoppers pass defense. So there's that. But also, Louisiana Tech is terrible against the run but has the 6th best pass defense in the country, and that should help nullify a pass-first Hilltoppers offense. So if Bachmeier plays, I love the home team getting the points. If he doesn't, proceed a bit more cautiously, but Tech still looks like a decent bet getting points. So the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both of these defenses have been atrocious against the running game as they are allowing 205-plus rushing yards per game. That means these offenses are going to run the football, and that is going to mean less total plays run. Both defenses have been doing well in their previous 2 games as Western Kentucky is allowing 18.5 points while Louisiana Tech is giving up 19 points, so they are forcing field goals and not touchdowns. Neither has been getting the over much this season as Western Kentucky has had the under hit in 3 of their 5 games while Louisiana Tech had the under hit in 4 of their 6 games. Louisiana Tech just doesn't have a whole lot of offense, given its injuries at quarterback and running back. Now if Bachmeier plays, they have a bit more firepower, but I don't see them generating enough offense to push this past the total. Add to that the fact that Tech is ranked 6th best in the nation in passing yards allowed, and they should slow down the Hilltoppers, who like to pass. It all adds up to a game that falls short of the total. Western Kentucky's last 2 games have gone below this number, as have Louisiana Tech's last 2 games. This one will too. This number looks a bit too high. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.